Have you ever wondered what the world would look like if history had taken a different turn? What if the stoic, militaristic Spartans, not the philosophical Athenians, had shaped the future of Western civilization? Let's journey back to 404 BC. The Peloponnesian War is over. Athens, the cradle of democracy and philosophy, has fallen. Sparta is triumphant, but what happens next? This is the alternate history of a world forged by Sparta. In our timeline, Spartan dominance was surprisingly brief, lasting only about 30 years before the Thebans shattered their power at the Battle of Leuctra. But in this alternate reality, Sparta learns from its mistakes. Instead of alienating their allies with arrogant and brutal policies, a wiser, more pragmatic Spartan leadership emerges. They realize that to maintain an empire, you need more than just the world's greatest soldiers. You need diplomacy, you need administration, and you need to give your subjects a reason to stay loyal. So, instead of installing hated oligarchies everywhere, this alternate Sparta creates a more flexible system. They establish a Hellenic League, a military alliance with Sparta at its head. Member states retain some local autonomy, but their foreign policy is dictated by Sparta, and they must contribute troops to the Spartan war machine. This is a brilliant move. It keeps the peace through overwhelming force, but avoids the constant rebellions that plagued them in our history. The Greek world becomes a vast, disciplined military camp, united under the red cloak of Sparta. What does this mean for culture? Well, things look very different. The golden age of Athenian philosophy, art, and drama is cut short. There's no Plato writing his asterisk republic asterisk, no Aristotle tutoring a young Alexander the Great. The grand philosophical questions about democracy, justice, and the ideal state are replaced by a focus on duty, honor, and obedience to the state. The Parthenon isn't a symbol of democratic achievement, it's a repurposed garrison. Theaters still exist, but they perform patriotic plays celebrating Spartan heroes and military victories, not complex tragedies questioning the nature of the gods and man. The vibrant intellectual marketplace of Athens becomes a quiet, orderly square. And what about Persia? In our history, the squabbling Greek city-states were a constant headache for the Persian Empire. In this timeline, a united Hellenic League under Spartan command is a far greater threat. Led by a brilliant Spartan king, perhaps another Agesilaus, but with more resources and a united Greece behind him, the League launches a massive invasion of the Persian Empire. This isn't a chaotic march like the 10,000. It's a systematic, disciplined conquest. The Spartan phalanx, reinforced by cavalry and skirmishers from across Greece, proves unstoppable. One by one, the rich provinces of Anatolia, the Levant, and even Egypt fall to the disciplined Greek soldiers. The Achaemenid Empire, the superpower of its day, crumbles. This creates a vast Greco-Spartan empire stretching from the Peloponnese to the borders of India. But ruling such a diverse territory presents a new challenge. The Spartans are a tiny minority. To control this empire, they are forced to adapt. They establish military colonies, granting land to veteran soldiers from all over Greece. These colonies become the new centers of power, spreading Greek language and a militarized Spartan culture across the East. The word laconic, meaning of few words, like a Spartan, becomes the model for imperial communication, clear, direct, and efficient. This new empire is fundamentally different from the Hellenistic kingdoms that followed Alexander the Great. It's less about a fusion of cultures and more about the imposition of a rigid, hierarchical order. The focus is on military readiness, physical fitness, and unwavering loyalty. The gymnasium, a place for both physical and intellectual exercise in our timeline, becomes purely a training ground for soldiers. Education for the ruling class is the the brutal Spartan training program, now exported across the empire. Young boys from allied elites are sent to Sparta to be forged into loyal commanders. Let's fast forward a few centuries. A new power is rising in the West, Rome. In our timeline, Rome encountered a fragmented Greek world and conquered it piece by piece. In this alternate reality, they face a unified, militarized superpower. The clash between the Roman legion and the Spartan phalanx is the defining conflict of the age. These wars are titanic, lasting for generations. The Romans are masters of engineering, logistics, and adapting to their enemies. The Spartans are masters of battlefield tactics and lifelong military discipline. It's a contest between two of the greatest military systems in history. Who would win? It's hard to say. Perhaps the Romans, with their vast manpower and ability to absorb defeats, would eventually grind the Spartan Empire down. Or perhaps the Spartan system, having had centuries to perfect its imperial control, would successfully repel the Roman threat, creating a bipolar world divided between a Roman West and a Spartan East. Imagine a Cold War in antiquity, with two superpowers locked in a centuries-long struggle for dominance, their border a heavily fortified line running through Italy or the Balkans. This Spartan-dominated world would be vastly different from our own. The concepts that form the bedrock of Western society democracy, individual liberty, philosophical inquiry would be fringe ideas, relics of a failed Athenian experiment. Our political vocabulary would be different. Instead of democracy and republic, we might talk of eunomia, good order, and koinonia, community, defined in purely Spartan terms. The legacy of ancient Greece wouldn't be the philosopher's query, but the soldier's oath. It would be a world of order, discipline, and stability, but perhaps one with less art, less freedom, and less of the vibrant, chaotic human spirit that we inherited from Athens. It's a fascinating and perhaps chilling thought. History balanced on a knife's edge, and with just one different outcome, the world we know could have been completely unrecognizable. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into an alternate past. If you enjoyed this exploration, please hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and let me know in the comments what other historical what-ifs you'd like to see. Until next time, stay curious.